Yes, so we're back talking turf. Lots to look forward to. Oh, as always, though, you've got 60 seconds. Go and grab a cuppa, get a cup of tea, get a drink, do whatever you want to do. We'll be back in 60. Yes, welcome back. How are you doing, Gary?
Good.
Good.
Back and refreshed.
Eh?
Back and refreshed after the holders.
Aye. Are you back in work mode yet or not?
Aye, I feel like I was the day till about 2 o'clock.
Right, listen. We'll fly through these because we've got a couple of people coming on. 8 o'clock, we've got a Toon fan coming on, and then about 8:15, we've got a United fan coming on to give theirs. So we'll fly through the results from the weekend. We'll predict what we think the midweek games are going to be, although there's quite a few playing the night. Or maybe we'll do the... Aye, no, we'll not. We'll just look at the scores from last weekend, and then we'll just get straight into Man U v the Toon.
Good.
Toon like a plan?
Sounds like a plan, Mara.
Sounds like a plan. Right, we'll start with Wolves and Aston Villa, mate. Friday night, obviously. A derby down there for them. Wolves coming away with all 3 points. A cracking win for them. 2-0 to 1. João Gomez scored in the 61st minute. And then Gomez gets his second in 98 minutes. A massive win for Wolves, mate. Another disappointing result for Villa, who are they're not doing it very well, to be honest with you. They picked up 3 points out the last 15, possible 15.
Mm-hmm. I did see most of this game. Like Wolves were good, and then at 1-0, Villa were knocking on the door heavily. Like, and they did have like a few chances. There was scrambles in the box and stuff, and then it was obviously like on the counter where Wolves just broke away and then like scored like at the dying embers. And it was good to see, though, obviously as a Man United fan, because we wanted to see Villa lose that game. But I was talking to someone the day about Wolves, you know, and like they haven't been like beaten like well off anyone really. Like I feel a little bit sorry for where they're sitting in the table, because they've got some good players, and they're not a bad side, you know. They've got some really good players, and they've been narrowly beaten by like top teams. Like Liverpool beat them like with a penalty in the dying number. Arsenal scored against them at the end. Like they've been in games. I mean, we drew 1-1 with them. They're not a bad side.
They're not a bad side. I just think it took them a while to adjust to the new manager, but I think he's getting his point through now. I think it's going to be too late, though, mate. I think they are going to go down, but I do think they'll come back up if they can keep that like majority of their players. I think they're a good team. Yeah, but Villa haven't got a good record. Gone to Molineux. They've lost their last 2, you know, so it was always going to be a hard game for them. But again, mate, Aston Villa, it's good for us and good for those that are trying to get in the Champions League, but they're hitting the blip. And there's talks that Fury could be the Man United manager. Would he take him or not?
Nah. You know what it is? If you had, like, and I mean, you spoke about this probably like a couple of months back. And when it's gone all right, he's upbeat, he looks like he's approachable. And then as soon as things start getting like a bit like rough and ready, and then Wolves getting stuck in, he stormed in the tunnel after that game, and he didn't even shake the manager's hand. He didn't go and see him, and he comes across like a little bit like an Arteta to me. You know, when he's not getting the rub of the green, like he comes in front of the camera and he's like, "There's excuses about everything. Just you got beat, mate." Like, you know, look at your own team, look at your team, don't even look at the other team. Like, you know, And he just looks like they've cracked. They've cracked. That's what's happened. And they're in 3-4. That's what it looks like.
I agree with you. We'll move on. Bournemouth 1, Sunderland 1. Sunderland obviously had the lead from the 18th minute right up until the 63rd minute. Evan Nielsen scores for Bournemouth, and the spoils are shared, mate. 1-1. Good result, or Sunderland?
I mean, Sunderland would have probably took that, but we know a few Sunderland fans, and having spoken to a couple of them, apparently they were denied like a Stonewall penalty. I haven't actually seen it. Have you seen that or not?
On who? For Sunderland?
Aye, apparently there was a Stonewall penalty in that game, and the bloke was like season ticket holder for Sunderland, and he says like honestly he gans on Match of the Day, apparently even Shearer's turn run and says like the officiator shot me guns. Even Alan Shearer saying Sunderland should have a penalty. Apparently Stonewall, and I think it was towards the end, so they'll probably feel like they should have won it.
Aye, but a good point because they're not, they're not an easy team to play. Bournemouth, as we know, like that's had a interest doing there, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Aye, they're a good side.
I mean, I'll just quickly have a look. Like Bournemouth. Aye, they drew Aston Villa. They beat Liverpool at home. Beat Tottenham at home. Drew with Chelsea. So it's a good point. Good point on the road for Sunderland. You take it and run. Moving on. Liverpool against West Ham, mate. Liverpool 5, West Ham 2. Liverpool had it wrapped up at half time, really. Ekitike, Van Dijk, and McAllister. But then the second half starts. Souček scores for West Ham 3-1. Gakpo gets another one 4-1. It's 4-2. Castellanos. And then Disasi own goal in the 82nd minute, 5-2. I think everybody would have expected that. Do you think not so much Liverpool will not tackle them so much, but West Ham, are they again doing, or they got enough to stay up?
I think on sort of the running, I think if they're being realistic, they're probably looking at that game at Anfield and probably just saying they're not picking points up there. I don't think if Espirito Santo has probably been honest with himself, he probably didn't have them picking points up at that game. So I don't think they'll probably be too hard on themselves. But I think it's the games like where the teams as a run them, they'll be looking at. But I mean, I do think that West Ham has been playing better. But the Dragon Forest and Spurs into it, like so. They could do it. They could do it. And it's just which one Gan's done.
They've got some good players that they're going down. They're going to get absolutely hammered. I think they'll be floating run now. You're thinking that potentially they could do. And same with Spurs. Like that would be an absolute disaster for them. Forest, aye. There's some good players to be had in them teams. And some of them are going to go and do ultimately. And another team that might go and do is Burnley. They hosted Brentford at the weekend, mate, in a thrilling 4-3 game. Not gone their way. Like they were 3-0 down after 34 minutes. And Coyote scores an own goal just before half time, 3-1. Second half starts, they get back into it. It's 3 apiece. And then they get a goal disallowed, Burnley, to make it 4-3 to them. But Damsgaard to come on and score. And it's 4-3 to Brentford. 98th minute, pal. Did you see it? From Barnes, the handball.
I looked at it because we were speaking about it on the bus to Palace on Sunday, weren't we? So
disallowed, and it's them decisions, mate, that I think that you need to get. Like that point there it's not just the point; it's like 6 points to them. If they get a point out of a game where they're 3-0 doing at half time, that does more for them than winning 1-0 against Brentford, getting that point in the dying embers. I think that's sealed Burnley's fate. I think they're down the Wolves. It's just whoever goes down with them. 4-3.
Totally agree. Yeah. They'll be disappointed that they've conceded 3 goals in the first half. The first half an hour, like that. That's what they are. It's hardly coming back, but it's like you cannot begin 3-0 doing half an hour at home, can you? You've got to be keeping it tight. You're playing Brentford.
Against Brentford, mate. No disrespect.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. If it's Man City or, like Liverpool on fire, Arsenal on fire, like you can sort of forgive teams for that, but you're playing against Man United. But you can sort of forgive it. You cannot forgive it against Brentford. You've got to be just keeping it tight. And they've proved that they could score against them. So, but it definitely wasn't a handball, I don't think. I think it should have been given.
Yeah. Well, it's not clear and obvious, then it shouldn't be given. It's simple as that. I see
Yeah,
that.
you shouldn't rule some of it.
It takes longer than a minute to decide. Then it's not clear and obvious for me. Like, nothing clear and obvious, mate. It would something that takes 5 minutes to decide.
There isn't. You're looking too much into it.
All right. Moving on. Leeds hosted Man City. Everybody thought it would be a walkover. Yes, City had a lot of possession and they won 1-0 through Semenyo. But they both had 14 shots on goal. 2 shots on target for Leeds and 5 for City. They came away with a 3-point City in the end, mate. That was a must win for City, I think, chasing the title.
Generally, like watching City, I don't normally want them to win, but me and he's both in the same place here. Like we neither of us want to see Arteta win the league. There was like we've both said it. And as much as I hate City, but I mean, Leeds,
they're going to end up getting
the charges.
They're going to end up getting the charges on it. So can you imagine like Arsenal fans are pretty unbearable. They're probably one of the worst in the league. And I know people will be sitting there thinking that Man United fans are, but honestly, Arteta and Arsenal fans are one of the worst in this Barclays Premier League. Is it Barclays anymore? Anyway, so for me, what would be the icing on the cake would be for City to win it, right? And then for them to be deducted the points and Arsenal be handed it. Right. Can you imagine that? That's nearly as bad as Liverpool winning the league, the COVID league.
COVID.
Aye. In it.
Totally. But back to that game. Leeds in the first half an hour were absolutely in that game. They were through one-on-ones, all sorts. They were battering City for the first 25, 30 minutes. Aronson went through. He was one-on-one, and the keeper made some brilliant saves. And 1-0, I mean, and it was a scrappy goal by Man City. It was like a cut ball across the box, and then he slides in, puts it in. But, I mean, it wasn't convincing. City's been like that all season, but they just seem to be picking points up.
They do this end of the season, the business end of the season, they always seem to pick points up when they need to, isn't it?
Aye. At Christmas, they just get on that roll and then it's contagious, isn't it?
Aye. Reece Mayari, Melly, Carrick all day, every day, he says. We'll see what happens.
It's Carrick, you know.
David Gravy's on, he's saying, what's the point having referees? May as well just have VAR. I think he's got a point. I think it's going to probably come to that, where it's just like there's nobody in the middle, and if there's a foul, or then it's like there's an announcement or something. It's coming of it, because he's right. What's the point of it? Because they make a decision based on if it's wrong, they'll put us right, and I'll stop the play. Until then, you can't keep doing that. It needs to be instant, doesn't it? Like you're stopping the play for too long, you're disrupting it. So something needs to happen. I like VAR because if you look at the FA Cup, I never used to in mind. If you look at the FA Cup and realize how much you needed VAR, I mean, Newcastle and Aston Villa, like the penalty, there was something else happened. Oh, that kid, 2 yellow cards. Like, it is, and this is what they're missing, the offside. Like, how can you not give that as offside? Honestly, mate, you could fit 2 double-decker buses in between them.
I'm just going to let the wife in. I've left the key in the back of the door.
Go on, let's keep a route there, man. Hey, lad, what a boy. Yeah? We'll move on. Yeah, when he gets back to Man United and Crystal Palace. Damien Simmons is on here. He says, better still, let's have United win it. Well, I had a £100 bet on Damien at the beginning of the season that United win the league at 40-1. And I've been offered like £2, £5, 36 pence through the season. But it offered us, before Arsenal played at the weekend, 36 quid. It's going to do new to £4 again. So I think, there was a chance.
It did come up to 32 quid, though, didn't it?
32 before Arsenal played.
At the weekend, though.
Back to £4, something new. But but we did do it at one point, didn't we? Who was that team? We were 12 points ahead of her. Down in the new year. Winning it.
I'm sure they were black and white. I can't remember who it was. So I think so.
Moving on. Man United, Crystal Palace. Palace take the lead, mate. Lacroix, is it? Lacroix scores.
Eagles.
Stupidly, he gets sent off in the 56th minute, mate. Bruno converts the penalty that was given from that decision. And then Sesko scores again. 2-1 United. Should have been a sending off. And what did you think of the display? Cash out, Davy Graves. Not for Paul Fun. 36.
I think last season or at the beginning of the season, we would have probably lost that game. I didn't think it was the best performance of them, being honest. We're sort of grunded out. First 25, 30 minutes, I thought they were the best team by a million miles. We couldn't even get close to them. But then Carrick seemed to change something because then we were getting closer. Because Sesko looked like he was too deep at times, and then all of a sudden he changed something, and then we were pressing them high up the pitch. And then we'll get back into the game with a penalty. Did I think it was a pen? Maybe it's not. Egan's doing a little bit too easy, but I can see why he has given it, because the defender lets him wrong side. It's a brilliant pass in behind. He gets onto the ball, and he's going to get to the ball, and he is going to get a shot. The defender knows that he's let him through, so he puts his hand on him, and then that makes him make the decision. Cunha, if he doesn't go and do misses, then his manager's probably grown them in this day and age. So he takes the penalty, he buys that penalty when ultimately he might not score. Do I think it was a red card? No. I probably think if they just give the penalty, on-field decisions are pen, I think it's fine just left at that, if I'm being honest. And to be honest, when they were going to the sideline, I thought they were going to disallow the penalty.
I did.
I thought that's why they were going. I thought because he's chucked himself, but I can see why Cunha's done it.
Because that's what the players do, and people may be calling them it, but everybody in the Premier League is doing that now, especially in the box. Especially in the box. But for me, mate, it's a free kick. It's a free kick outside the box, because it starts outside the box. I think we were lucky to get the penalty, and even luckier that he was sent off. Is it a goal scoring opportunity? Yes, he's the last man.
But he's wide a little bit. He's in.
That's in double jeopardy. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to give the penalty and send off.
It's gone now, though. It's gone now.
It's gone, is it? Is that why they did
it? Yep.
Damien's only 80, and I think we've done well to get the points. The team looks strong at last. Players looks to be up in their game play now. Just hope we can keep it up. I think that I think Amorim, and he got a 10 million payoff, but he's got to be sitting now at home thinking, idiot. I'm about what you say. Man United's got to be the pinnacle of jobs. Man United, Real Madrid, and Barcelona. You get to that point, surely you do anything in your power to be a success. Yes, he's getting 10 million, but he's lost probably one of the biggest jobs in football, and he'll probably never get that opportunity again. All he had to do was change his formation.
He was too stubborn. I think that's the best word. I think that's the best word for it. Because he's not a stupid bloke, is he?
He's not. And we've got a lot to thank him for, and I am thankful for the players that he's getting out. Because if you look at Garnacho, he's done nothing at Chelsea. Rashford's gone to one of the best teams in the world. Yes, he set it alight at the start. Now the defenders are getting to know him. He's hardly getting the game. Sancho is the most poisonous player you'll ever meet in your whole entire life. He's been at loads of big clubs and done nothing in none of them. Inana, out. You're not good enough. So he has done with some good. And the players that he bought, if he bought them, have been absolutely fantastic. They've hit the ground running. Sesko's took a little bit longer. Dogu there, he bought them last January, I think it was, or last summer. Fantastic, coming good. So his players, I still believe now, if he had gotten the Man City job, he would have been absolutely fantastic because he had the players to play his system. He didn't have a system. He had to adjust. He didn't. He got sacked. Now he's sitting in Portugal and probably ruin his, yes, he's got 10 million made, but you didn't get to that point in your career to just chuck that away, for me.
No, you didn't, but it's his philosophy, it's his way of playing it. So you just got to respect that, haven't you? And really just say, like, well, you should have changed it, but then he was hell bent that he wouldn't. So, I mean, we'll get Carrick in and look what's happened. So there we go.
David Gravy saying it should be a penalty every corner. It's like the WWF every corner. It is, especially Man United Everton. I've never seen nothing like that. Like,
it's disgusting. That
it was absolutely unbelievable. But I tell
Arsenal
you what,
done it though as well, though.
Aye. The thing is, though, you know, David Moyes did well. He came out and said
the keeper.
He said the keeper was absolutely fantastic. You know, like to get through that.
Thought they would bully him.
Aye, absolutely brilliant. Moving on. Fulham 2, Tottenham 1. Fulham 2-0 up at half time. Spurs get a goal back in the 66th minute through Richarlison. But again, another loss for Spurs, mate. They've obviously hired a new coach, Tudor, whoever he is. Bad decision for me. I can't see him lasting long. Spurs are in a relegation fight. How did you see that one, mate?
I think it's what I expected, to be honest. I didn't think. I mean, Fulham I thought they were one of the better teams that's come to Old Trafford this season, if I'm being honest. They played some mint football, especially going forward. And I was talking to someone yesterday in one about Harry Wilson, and was saying, like, do you think like that's his level, or do you think he can play for a top team? Because it's week in, week out. Now he seems to be like either the man of the match or he's scoring goals, like good goals. So he's got a wonderful left foot, and he scores again against Spurs. And you're thinking, like, you know, sometimes players move to that next step, and you think, can he do that? Or because he was at Liverpool, and I started like at Swansea or so, but then he's went to Liverpool, didn't quite work, and then he's went to Fulham, and then he's mint. And you think, can he like just get to that next
one more,
or is that
he wasn't given his
chance?
chance?
Be interesting, though. But he's a brilliant player, like, and he's reaping his rewards at the minute, like. But Spurs are they're in big trouble. Then,
they are
big.
Another team that is potentially in trouble, Gary, is Nottingham Forest. They went down to Brighton at the weekend. They lost 2-1. Pretty close game, to be fair. Gomez scores. Gibbs White equalises, the ever-reliable Gibbs White. But then Danny Welbeck, good old Danny Welbeck, secures the 3 points for Brighton. Forest get beat again.
The Groundhog Day, isn't it?
Aye.
The sacked Sean Dyche, and then who is the Forest manager now?
Forest is...
Who did they bring in again? The ex-Wolves one.
Peter Pereira.
Aye, so he was who Wolves sacked. And then they've brought him, which I thought at the time I was thinking they've sacked their coach in the relegation zone, and then they've employed him.
Aye, crackers.
But they've went through so now they've got 3 or 4 coaches that have all been in the relegation zone. Nuno, the manager they've got, and then you're thinking, wow, like Sean Dyche, he's. I just think for the players and the money that they have got, they shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. They just shouldn't. But if they can't do it, obviously you've got Gibbs White in there, Milinkovic, brilliant centre half.
I like him.
He's a very good centre half.
Aye.
But they're struggling. It's a battle between them and Spurs, I think, and West Ham.
Aye. Arsenal 2, Chelsea 1. Saliba scores early on. Hincapi, is that right?
Aye,
Hincapi, own goal, makes it 1s each. And then Timber scores 2-1. Neto gets a yellow card. 3 minutes later, gets sent off. And that's really game hour. When you're playing at the Emirates, 10 men, 2-1. It's like you're asking for trouble. Garnacho gets on for 4 minutes. He's got to be sitting now thinking, honestly, what have I done? He'll end up playing it some shitty Italian team, I think. Good enough for him, to be honest. Stats show that Chelsea had more possession. Arsenal had more shots. But Arsenal grinded it out, mate. They needed that win. They played 2 derbies there. Spurs and Chelsea won them both. That's what they needed to do. The fixtures now, they're going to Brighton away. They've got Mansfield in their FA Cup, Leverkusen, Everton at home, Leverkusen at home, City in the AFL Cup final, and then the host Bournemouth, and then it's the big one, which I think is where the league is going to be probably decided. The 18th of April, they're away to Man City.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of
that's going to be the
totally
one.
Agree. But I think even the tomorrow night away to Brighton.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's an easy game.
Easy game.
It's. I think you can easily go in there and just get a draw. Like there'll be a few results that pop up that we didn't expect. 1,000,000%. I don't even think Wolves is an easy game for Liverpool. Liverpool's an easy game for Wolves. But, it's
Liverpool away.
Aye. Yep. Oh. I just don't think there's any easy games in the Premier League, if I'm being honest.
No. Right, I missed the game, but not on purpose. Newcastle 2, Everton 3. Bradford scores 1-0. Ones each, Ramsey. 2-1, Beto. 82nd minute, Murphy equalises for the twos each. And just a minute later, they say you're the most vulnerable when you've just scored. Newcastle were. Barry scores for Everton, claiming all 3 points for Everton on the road at Newcastle. Stats show Newcastle had most possession. They had 17 shots, but only 7 on target. Everton had 9 and 5 on target. One of the shots that Newcastle had, and Pickford would have loved this, and this would have been shown for years to come. It would have been like the Rooney goal against Newcastle. Tonali hits it sweet as a nut on the edge of the box, and Pickford out of nowhere just taps it out of the bar, mate. Honestly, what a save.
Brilliant save.
Unbelievable. 3-2. Everton get all 3 points, mate. How did you see that one?
I just think like you're getting yourself back into the game twice at home, and then to chuck it away like 2 minutes later. That was every time you scored. 2 minutes later, boom, equaliser. You've got to be keeping it tighter than that against an Everton side who didn't normally score many goals. Like Newcastle be kicking themselves, but I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard like my friends say, like obviously season ticket holders and that about Nick Pope, like like he's a decent shot stopper and stuff like that at times. But I mean, my God, that one, he's going to save a ball going wide of his right post, and he pulls it back into the middle of the net for him to run and just tap in. And I'm thinking, how can you possibly do that? Like that was like an honor moment, that honestly. But it's not the first one he's made, to be fair. Like it seems to be like a recurring thing, and to bring
I've never seen anybody get -6 on Flash Score, and Nick Pope got a 5.2. I was going to bring this guest in after the break, right? But he's here now, and I just want to get his opinion on that game. Welcome, Steve Rafe. How are you doing, mate?
Hi, lads. How are you?
Hello, Steve.
Good to see you.
What do you make of that game? Because we're going to do the break, Steve, but I wanted to bring you in because we're finished on Newcastle and Everton. I'm saying, you're getting back into the game twice and then you've chucked it away. Nick Pope's rating on Flash Score, mate, was 5.2.
Yeah, it's been poor, lads. It's no surprise to hear those kind of scores coming through. Goalkeeper's been a big problem for us. I've just heard Gaz mention Anana, and it was, he's dropping Ricks, on a more regular basis now, and it's disappointing. What I will say in Nick Pope's defence, he is the better keeper of the two. He's better than Ramsdale for me. But I do feel that our main problem lies in the injuries that were sustained. I mean, the stats are ridiculous before, obviously you're going to go to a break, but the stats, for example, for games, it's the price of success. Man United have played 30 games this season. Newcastle have played 45. And the injury list, again, is mounted up for Newcastle. And predominantly all in one area, the back four. I can reel them off. Well, I could reel off the player that's been fit for every game, and that's Malik Chow. Everybody else has been injured for a period longer than 4 weeks. Some of them longer than 2 months. So Dan Burn missing, for 8 months, for 8 weeks after that injury at Sunderland. Fabian Shaw, more or less a season-ending injury he had. Sven Botman never really recovered from 2 knee operations, but at times looked the player that we bought, but now still looks a shadow of his former self. Emil Kraft, obviously, you know, not really what you would have considered a first-team starter this season, but somebody who's a good squad player who can come in and fill in. Injured, season over. Jamal Lascelles, well past his sell-by date, but still part of the squad at the start of the season. Obviously now gone to Leicester, but again, somebody who, when he was at the club at the start of the season, was injured, couldn't get fit. And then Tino Livramento, who's had knee problem before we bought him. Obviously now has got a new injury and he's been laid out for best part of 3.5 months and is just about to return. So with the exception of Malik Chow and Lewis Hall, who's had a better season injury-wise, Nick Pope and Aaron Ramsdale, whoever's been in goal, haven't had the same back four in front of them. There's been no continuity in the back four. So I would say that's been a big reason. But because Nick Pope has struggled when he hasn't had a decent back four in front of him. All Nick Pope is a really good shot stopper. That's it. And he's got a rick in him, and I think we all know that. He's like the tightest bramble of goalkeepers for us. That's the way I've described him. But with Aaron Ramsdale, we've got somebody whose distribution is excellent. His passing's great, but he just, I just don't. Maybe we haven't seen the best of him for exactly the same reason. We haven't had a regular back four in front of him, and we're relying on Kieran Trippier, who, bless him, great pro, great lad, 35-year-old. He's past his best as well. You know, we're trying to compete in one of the quickest leagues in the world, the Premier League, and compete in the Champions League at the back end of the business end of the Champions League with, you know, with like Dad's Army at the back. And it's sad to see, you know, because last season was great.
It's not.
I told you last season. I told you this season. I really felt with a good strong summer. This was before we lost Isaac, of course. I felt we could still finish in a Champions League position. But I've still got the tweet because I always do keep it. You know, I predicted Newcastle would finish 5th and win the FA Cup. Half my dream is still alive, but it could be over by tea time. Well, by close of play on Saturday night if we get knocked out by City. So, you know what?
I think you've got a chance against City at home, mate. You're due one.
Listen, the thing is with Newcastle at the moment, Melly, it's been a roller coaster of a season. And, you know, again, we're suffering because of that whole, you know, we can never compete with Man United, Spurs, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Liverpool, etc., because we are still and always will be 13, 14 years behind on that commercial revenue. And until the rules are changed where our owners can then go, we can spend what we want, we'll never have an opportunity to be able to compete. But you know what? It's still better than it was.
Do you feel like you spent everything that you could in the summer though? Or do you feel like there was more money to spend?
I think we wasted a hell of a lot of money, Gary, and I do believe, and this is my opinion, it's not the opinion of your channel, and it's certainly not the opinion of NUFC Matters. It's my opinion, Steve Wraith's opinion. I think our transfer window was sabotaged by the outgoing sporting director. I think there was sour grapes there, and I think all he would have done was all it would have taken was an email to all of the 19 Premier League clubs and said, this is Newcastle United's targets, this is Newcastle United's budget, this is what the limitation is and what they can offer as wages, and, you know, good luck for the rest of the season. And it's, you know, it's not I think that's what he did. I don't think that's beyond the realms of possibility. It's not illegal to do that, dropping an email to everybody, because that's the job you're in. It's just sour grapes. And I don't understand how Newcastle United's targets, every single target, was known by the media, was known by the other clubs, even coming to even to the point of James Trafford. Newcastle, yeah, they were courting him previously, but then for Man City to come in and take Trafford, knowing fine well that they weren't going to play him, that really was that was like the smoking gun to me. I thought, you know, that stinks of them being tipped off that we wanted him, we did want him, and this is what we're prepared to pay. And I think that's why, I think it probably started in the past. I wouldn't have put it past Ashworth to do it in Newcastle. He almost feels like he had a bit more credibility, Ashworth, but Mitchell, I just didn't trust him in the first place. And Look, that's my opinion. I think it feels like we were set up to fail this summer, and ultimately every single player we went for, somebody else got them. And yes, it's a lot of it's to do with the fact that we can't compete financially. We can't offer £200,000 a week wages to players, and we are always going to be playing second fiddle. So it's disappointing, but I did feel this season would be better than it was. And it still could be. Look, nothing's beyond the realms of possibility. You said you fancy Newcastle to beat City on Saturday in the Cup. And if they do, Newcastle will be focused on winning the FA Cup. There's no doubt about it, because that'll be an avenue into Europe, and it's an opportunity to keep things moving in an upward trajectory. But there's been some problems at the club, definitely. What's going on in the dressing room, I don't know. After Brentford away, I thought they would be having a bit of a get together. It's took them a defeat at Brentford at home for the players to go, hold on a minute, things aren't going right. And I don't know. There's a lot of rumors flying around, and when rumors are flying around, somewhere in the middle's the truth. And it's causing problems. No.
Listen, right, we're gonna hit the brakes, right? 2 minutes 42 seconds. I just want to get your opinion on the big old game tomorrow, Steve. I'm put, lads. We'll be back in 2:42. Cheers. If you'd like to advertise with us like these following businesses have done, then get in touch with Melly or Gary. It's only £5 a show, and we're hitting on average, I would say, between 10 and 20,000 people per month. Support us, and we'll help support you. Melly's Carpets and Beds, 63 Station Road in Ashington. Free measures are available daily. You can call 01670 632216 or find us on Facebook. Melly's Carpets and Beds. Laying our reputation one recommendation at a time. BA Commercials and Northeast Metals Limited, where you can get almost any used car part. The best prices is paid here for scrap vehicles and metals. They have containers to rent short and long term from just £30 per week, as well as plant hire and also commercial buildings for rent. Call during working hours on 07825 405 772. GB Glazing and Joinery Limited, based in Ashington, Northumberland, but covering the whole of the Northeast. CERTAS approved, who specialise in windows, doors, warm roofs, kitchen, conversions, and conservatories. Call Gary during working hours on 07825 160 777. A1 Fire Stopping and Drilling Services, who specialise in installation and maintenance of passive fire protection, fire stopping, and thermal installation systems. You can email your query to Martin. That's at martin.gallen@a1firestop.co.uk, or call during working hours on 07751 429 045. A1 Fire Stopping Services. Ashington Properties, whose company mission is to create high-quality homes for the local community and Northumberland, and whose company values are transparency, trust, and loyalty. You can email them at ashingtonproperties@gmail.com or call during working hours on 07985 203 094. And last but not least, Most Cuts. You can call Lewis on 07519 07787. You can find him on Facebook, and you can also book through the Booksy app. You'll find them down in Newbiggin on Front Street, straight opposite Chisholm Bookmakers. Always look fresh when you get cut off Moz. Yes, welcome back. And as always, thanks very much to all the local businesses who help sponsor the show. It really is appreciated. And if you need anything of any of them, give us a shout, and I'm sure they'll look after you. Steve Rafe, welcome back from NUFC Matters, mate. There's a big game happening tomorrow night under the lights in Newcastle. Your cup final, obviously. We expect you to show up. We haven't won in Newcastle since 2020. So, we're not, even though we're on a run and you are totally unpredictable, we still think that potentially there could be an upset on the cards. I wouldn't like it to be that. But I'm just showing you the league table, Steve. Just start off with, mate, right?
Yeah.
Do you think Newcastle are in a relegation battle or not?
Nah, not in we're not in a relegation battle. I mean, look, it's a while since I've had to say this, but there's more teams. There's three teams worse than Newcastle, but there's more than three teams worse. But it's easy to say that this Premier League for me has been a poor Premier League. Not speaking as a Newcastle fan and saying it's been poor for us, but I think in general it's been a poor league. I think football's suffering massively from the rules that we've got to play with at the moment. I think VAR is killing the sport as a fan sport. I think it's I think the rules which were simple when we started following football, lads, have now been made into a farce. The handball rule, we could go on. There's loads of things I hate about football now, and I don't think this division has been as great as previous Premier Leagues. I think it's a lot tighter. Anybody can beat anybody, which some people might say is great, but I just think there once used to be a top, a middle, and a bottom. Now there's just a top and a bottom. And Newcastle at the minute are in the bottom half of the table, and Man United are in the top half of the table. So talking about tomorrow's game, that should really be a formality tomorrow, especially on form. Manchester United shouldn't be worried about coming to St James's Park and should be able to turn us over. But as you've already said, Newcastle's unpredictable. At the moment, we were invincible at home and couldn't win an away game, and now we can't win a game at all at times, and it is frustrating. It is worrying. Because of the transfer window we've never had anybody who can score goals on a regular basis. We've tried so many different formations. We've tried to put so many square pegs into round holes. And that's ultimately what at the start of the season was biting us on the backside. Now it's conceding goals. We had one of the tightest defenses at the start of the season. And at least we could rely on that, but we couldn't score goals. Now we're leaking goals and scoring goals at the same time. So we've got enough points in the bag. We won't be involved in a relegation battle. I think Spurs, West Ham and Forest will be the three that battle it out for that ultimate third place. I think one of them will go.
Just quickly, Steve, who do you think goes down out of them?
You've got to say Spurs at the minute.
Aren't you?
You've got to say Spurs. You've got to say. I think Forest have got enough to get out of it. I think even though the madcap owner doesn't deserve staying in the Premier League, sacking managers as if they're going out of fashion. He doesn't really deserve it. I think West Ham have got enough. If they can keep Bowen fit, I think Bowen can keep them up on his own, really. But I think Spurs look like they're on a one-way ticket out of the Premier League, and it just takes one of those teams below them to start going on a run. And I haven't checked the fixtures, and I don't know who plays who. But if there's any 6-pointers, you can't see Spurs winning those 6-pointers. They look bereft of ideas, and the manager. What on earth are they doing appointing him as a manager? It's a strange scenario, but no, Newcastle aren't in a relegation fight. It's a bloody good job we got points in the bag, though. Otherwise, we could have been. And it comes down to the fact that we spent 250 Ks on players, and they're just not. They're not up to scratch, mate. We've spent all of that money, and we've wasted £250 million in the summer. We've literally wasted it on substandard players who haven't made the squad any better. And I would have rather have sat on my hands and not spent money on the likes of on Wisser and Walter Marder if they were that low down the pecking order. We've been unlucky with Wisser, but he's not an out and out centre forward.
Why did you not persist on Strand Larson? Do you think?
I just don't think they thought.
I watched him on Sunday against Palace, and I thought he was outstanding. As a centre forward.
I think the problem we've got. Me and Melly have talked about this on WhatsApp chats. Melly's been like I said to you lads at the start of the season when I came on that I didn't think Amarim would last the season, and I was right about that. Melly said to me, and Melly said to me and has said to me about Eddie Howe. It could be time for a change. And I've said no, I don't think so. And I think if they did change Eddie Howe, it would be in a close season. It's only 4 or 5 weeks ago we heard Eddie Howe say he would walk away. So it's certainly been across his mind, and and I'm sure it's been across the owner's mind, and maybe things are going stale, and maybe Eddie will go at the end of the season, but there's still matches to play. I think as long as they're in the Champions League and as long as they're in the FA Cup, then I don't think there'll be any more talk of it. But I think if we lose the next 3 games, we lose to Man United tomorrow, we get knocked out the FA Cup against Man City, and then we'll get beaten in the first leg at home next week against Barcelona. Tell you what, that leads us into the derby match against Sunderland. Eddie could be gone by then.
Steve,
and that might just be that the Saudis go, that's it, we've had enough.
enough.
And that's, listen, but on the flip side, because Newcastle United are so unpredictable this season, Newcastle could beat Man United, beat Man City, and beat Barcelona, and suddenly it's Eddie in. And that's another thing I hate about football, how fickle football fans are. I've tried to preach this last week, since the Everton defeat. Let's not get carried away. When we win games, don't get carried away. Don't suddenly start putting Anthony Gordon on a pedestal and saying that it's it's the new Harry Kane. And at the same time, when we get beat 3-2 against Everton, who've got a great away record, by the way, and who we did beat at their place 4-1 only in November, then let's have a little bit of perspective and remember that actually we haven't just become a bad team overnight. We've just lost a game against a team that's up there and above us. Aston Villa, a team that's up there and above us, and Brentford, who I like Bournemouth at the minute. They sell a player and they're managing to bring another player in, and we're falling foul of that kind of, I won't call them day trippers, but we're falling foul of fans who have come in and replaced. They've jumped in those 10,000 seats that were there when Ashley left. And we have got a few people who haven't been through bad times, haven't done what we've done, which is the miles on the road, watching our team, and they're very quick to criticize. And it does get extra traction because of social media now. Yeah, social media now just blows it all out of proportion. So yeah, Steve, look, it hasn't been very good. That's all I'm saying.
I've only got you for a couple of more minutes, mate, right? So I'm gonna bring me pal in from Manchester, Damien, who is, because you're talking about miles on the road. This is Damien. You all right, Damien?
Very well. How are you?
Damien.
All right, lads.
Damien, you all right,
Very
mate?
good. So this is
Good,
Steve
good.
Rafe, a pal of ours. He runs an NUFC Matters on YouTube, mate. Newcastle through and through, just like you are with Man United. He goes home, away, European, takes his boys with him, never misses. So I just wanted to get him on as well, mate. But quickly, Steve, how do you see tomorrow night going?
I think it'll be tighter than it could be. I think, look, Man United are really playing well. I've watched every Man United game that I could since Carrick took over. I thought it was a strange appointment, but I didn't think Amorim was the right manager for you guys, and I told you that when I came on at the start of the season. I told you Amorim would be gone by the end of the season, and it didn't even take that long. Carrick's come in. He's got things right in the dressing room. And he's, you can see that the players are playing with a smile on their face. He's got Sesko scoring goals, which is bad news for us. And Buemo has been, who for me, obviously I don't go to your games, but just from what I've seen on television from your games and from that 1-0 defeat at your place before Christmas, after Christmas, sorry. You've got Buemo there, who's a danger as well. So look, if we've got the same kind of attitude that we've had in the last 3 home games, Man United will certainly score tomorrow. I think we've just got to hope that we can score more. It could be a classic. It could be a TV classic. It could be a 0-0 draw. It could be a 3-2 or a 4-3. We've been down that road before with Newcastle Manchester United games. I'm going for a more conservative. I'm going to back Newcastle to win. I think we'll bounce back. I think there will have been a reaction, and I do think they'll set up a little bit differently to the way they set up against Everton. I think Man United's game will suit us tomorrow. I think I'm going to take us to edge it by the 1 goal. I'm going to take a 2-1 win to Newcastle.
Damien, what are you going to say to that?
I was going to go the other way, me 2-1 to obviously Man United.
Why?
Yeah, because they just can't defend, can they? They just cannot defend.
Steve's just Steve's just touched on that. Last season, they had the best defensive record in the Premier League. This season, they're conceding goals for fun. Why do you think that is? What is it about them?
But to me, sorry, I don't know. You know, like when you watch them, they just don't look that confident at the back, and you know, the keeper situation. They they want a new keeper, don't they?
100%. So you know what, mate? What I'm thinking is, and I haven't said this out loud, but I'm just about to. Newcastle had the perfect opportunity last season. They're Champions League football. They were Carabao Cup winners. They'd finished high in the league. They had a lot to offer, and that should have been the summer that they signed players. This year round, I think all they're gonna have to offer is Phoenix. Phoenix is a local clothes store, and that's all that they're gonna have to offer players. I don't think they're gonna have anything else.
You
and
sound like
they
overachieved last season.
Huh?
You sound like they overachieved last season.
I think they did. But there's rumours now that Man United could potentially sign Tonali or Bruno. I think Newcastle are going to get hammered this season. I think there's going to be a lot of players leave. Who out of Newcastle would you take, Damien, in the Man United team?
They're probably the only two, obviously, like you just mentioned, the ones we keep being linked with. From the back to the front, I can't really think of anybody else.
No.
So well, I think, to be honest, the media are having a field day at the moment. The geopolitics has come back into play again with the media. They love kicking us when they think we're down. There's a lot of talk amongst our media that there's one player who's already agreed to go. As far as the summer's concerned, Tino Livramento, of course, won't sign a new contract. He's been heavily linked with City, and Sandro Tonali, although he's contracted, for another few years, he's been heavily linked with Arsenal. So those are the two who I think Newcastle fans are expecting to go. I think on some performances, I wouldn't be surprised to see Anthony Gordon go, but you know what?
Well, you seem to be booing him all the time anyway, don't you?
Well, this comes back to these day trippers. This 10,000 season tickets were sold when Ashley went and the takeover went through. I think there's a lot of people there have never even been to a football match who've come in and taken those seats. But there's a minority boos. I mean, the vast amount of boos against Everton were from Everton fans booing Anthony Gordon, which is understandable. But it's. I do think it'll be a hell of a summer because it's a huge reconstruction project, and you missed it before, Damien. I was talking about the fullback situation. We're in a position now where Trippier will not get a new contract, not a 35. If he does, it'll be the coaching staff. Emil Crafter's contract's up. His season's over anyway, so he won't be getting a renewal. Tino Livramento could potentially leave and go to another club. That's going to leave us with absolutely no right backs.
It'll be big money, that though.
So
big money.
We're going to need to at least bring in two. Going to need one, but you're going to need two right backs. There's no doubt we need a new goalkeeper, which everybody knows. We've got Vlachimidos on loan, but Eddie Howe doesn't seem to like him. He's the Greek international keeper who was part of that Elliot Anderson transfer that we had to do for PSR. So we could potentially bring Vlachimidos back in, but as I say, Eddie doesn't seem to like him. There is talk of Trafford wanting to come to Newcastle now. Well, great, but why he didn't come in the summer, I don't know. And when obviously what he was lied to by City by the looks of it, didn't realise he wasn't going to be playing.
Not his best move, that.
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
and then on top of that, if we lose somebody, we need a striker. We've needed a striker since the summer.
In the striker going back to Germany?
No, he's not. I mean, that's just paper talk. Voldemort, there is, it's that kind of, there's a player in there kind of line, which I'll reel out. There is a player in there, and he showed it in flashes this season, but not for Eddie's formation. He can't play 4-3-3. He's not somebody who can do that. And Wissa is just, he's not the player we signed. He's not. He's struggling with that injury.
Steve, so
yeah,
right. Back to the Paul Mitchell thing, right? So why, if Paul Mitchell was brought in, right, to buy the players and set a team up, why was Eddie Howe allowed to do his job? So then he ends up leaving his role, and then Eddie Howe comes and buys players that doesn't fit his own system.
I don't think it was Eddie Howe. I don't think it was Eddie Howe who did it. I think what happened here was that listen, Eddie Howe had 2 days off and then was called back in to basically take charge when Mitchell left. And I think there was 2 Saudi representatives. Well, I know there was 2 Saudi representatives who were here who are nameless, but who came to the club and who were working alongside Eddie Howe and Andy Howe, his nephew, and obviously working along with, the chief scout. So those, but I still say, and this, it comes back to what I said, everybody knew who Newcastle's transfer targets were. Everybody knew what Newcastle's budget was, and everybody knew what Newcastle can and can't pay. And that is the reason that our transfer window was terrible. It was. Jacob Ramsey starting to play well. There's potential there. A really good player. Not the best player we could have took from Villa, but that was a decent signing, and he's starting to show his worth. Anthony Elanga doesn't play well in that system. He's quick. No. He can put a ball in, but you can't when you're playing 4-3-3. That's not that. He's used to playing with Chris Wood, 2 strikers up front at Forest, and people banging in goals. All he has to do is get to the byline, cross the ball in, and somebody's there. It can be the worst cross in the world, but a good header of the ball can get it. We haven't got anybody who can do that. Waldemar shrinks when he jumps, and he's 6'7". And Wissa really isn't a number 9. He's got the number 9 shirt on, but Wissa's he's more like Brian Mbeumo. He likes to drift wide and cut in and cross the ball. But at the minute, he can't even run, lads. It's sad. I wonder whether he needs surgery. I wonder whether Newcastle have kept him back and he needs an operation. I don't know, but that's a huge blow. 124 million pounds spent on 2 players who can't score goals really on a regular basis, and that's not good enough. And that's what we replaced a 30-goal striker with in Alexander Isak.
I'm gonna share this quickly, Steve. Stay with for 2 minutes.
Yep.
Let's make sure that comes on there. So this is a couple of stats on X. The last time Man United won, like I said before, against Newcastle at St James's Park was in the Premier League in 2020. Were you there, Damien?
I would have been, yeah. I would have been. We were only discussing this before, weren't we? We couldn't work out when it was.
I had to search it up. I'm sure I was actually young in the last minute, if I remember rightly. Yeah. And then head-to-heads, Newcastle v United all-time Premier League match, records ahead of Wednesday night's game at St James's. Newcastle's won 11. There's been 16 draws, and United's won 34. 66 goals scored for Newcastle, 118 for United. And here's the top assisters and goals. Man United at the top with Bruno Fernandes, closely followed by Bruno Guimaraes there, who was probably just as good. And then you've got Mbembo and Sesko, and then Walty Mead. That might surprise you, Steve.
Yeah.
But I echo what you just said before, mate, I think Walty Mead's more of a 10, and he needs somebody quick behind him. But I've got this on here. Elanga has forgot how to play football. He hasn't forgot how to play football. You got to remember, Man United didn't sell anybody who is, and you might shoot us down here, but any good, so to speak. Who was the last player that left Man United that went on to do like great things apart from Ronaldo?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's some unsubstantiated rumors about things going on behind the scenes with certain players. Alanga's one of them, obviously, as well. Him and Tonali have both had their first kids. We know that can take a bit of time, to adjust when
Steve,
you get.
Sorry. I just want to know this because I got to tell this. Tonali, did he send his kid down to London to have his wife down to London to have the kid?
Yeah, but apparently it was to do with some issue. It was a personal issue. It wasn't anything to do with geography. It was to do with.
I don't know.
And what you've got to remember is they didn't have the kids.
But
what you've got to remember is as well they didn't have the children.
Exactly.
He should have fit form.
It can still throw things. It can still throw things up in the air, can't it? When that happens in the house as a professional footballer. But there's been, allegedly there's been issues with security for Newcastle players, and of course we know that Alexander Isak's house was burgled twice. Apparently that's continued with other players, where players' houses have been, approached
inside jobs.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? So there's been a lot of unsettling things happening behind the scenes, which has been much publicized in the media. So I think all of those things haven't helped the atmosphere behind the scenes. But there's been some big characters left. I mentioned Lascelles earlier. Lascelles was a big voice in that dressing room. He's gone now, and there's lots of things gone right, but there's a lot more gone wrong for Newcastle this season. But the bubble hasn't burst. but you know, it could be well and truly deflated
What's the
next week.
atmosphere like, Steve? What's the atmosphere like?
At the moment, it's still at the moment the atmosphere is still good, Gary. At the moment, it's still good. You know, there's still like you guys, I go home and away, so you know the away crowd's usually a good benchmark for what people are really feeling. And you know, I think
100%.
essentially the away fans are all still 100% behind Eddie, but that doesn't mean that when we're not at the game, we're not having conversations like everybody else talking about, you know, what you would do. There's a lot of negativity away from, you know, amongst my mates about Nick Pope, a lot of negativity about Walter Marder, and a lot of negativity about Alanga. And those three players, you know, are the ones that people, they're an easy target. You know, I've really focused more on Anthony Gordon. I've been very disappointed in Gordon. I think Gordon seems almost to be protecting himself for the World Cup. That's my honest opinion. But I think as well, I think there's been a change in certainly I would agree with the notion there's been a change in the way that we're set up and the way that we play. I don't think there's as much emphasis on the high press. I think Eddie's gone for a short passing game. And the problem is we're not being able to pass properly. You know, Tonali, Bruno and Joe Linton have been awful sometimes with their distribution this year. So yeah, there's so much going on.
Do you think you miss Bruno's attitude when he's not there? Do you think you miss that massive character in the middle of the field, like that can like get the crowd going?
Of course you do.
A couple of fans have said to me,
Alan's saying, yeah, mate, he's saying the atmosphere has dropped massively, but he's in the Pro Sandwich Brigade. He's one of these tourists that's just come on the scene lately.
But do you feel like Bruno can like absorb that and like gets everyone down on the pitch? You haven't got that leader when he's not playing. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, he's a talisman. He's the captain of the team, of course. You know, he's a big miss. Very creative, plays football like the way it should be played. But on the flip side of that, he's the most foul player in the Premier League. He likes to dive. You know what I mean? He's one of these players who slows the game down and costs you. And his passing at times hasn't been as great as it could have been. You know, there's been so many issues this season. When we've been good, we've been really good, and when we've been awful, we've been awful. And that's the problem, you know. And I also think as well, having your local rivals in the division performing better than anybody could have expected has also put pressure on Newcastle United. And
they're doing well, Ashton.
You know, Ashton are doing great. Well, listen, lads.
Steve,
great to be back on again. And Melly, I'll return the favour and get you back on NUFC matters at some point.
Oh, I'll put your tin hat on, Steve. What you got for 2-1 the tune?
2-1 to Newcastle, mate.
Oh, I just said they can't score.
I'm not backing against me.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, he's just said they can't score. They've spent millions on no goals.
We have, mate. But we always seem to manage away against Man United.
No, you do
tomorrow, Damien.
Say again, sorry.
Final tomorrow.
Oh, that'll be the problem. Knowing tomorrow they'll all turn up tomorrow. The same.
Cheers, Steve.
Exactly.
Cheers,
okay,
Steve.
Take care, lads.
Take care.
Cheers.
Hey, it's always great to get Steve Rape on the show. He's excellent. There's nothing he doesn't know, you know, like about Newcastle. He's through and through. A bit like you are with Man United, Damien. You've got to be loving this at the minute, mate, with Man United, are you? Damien? I lost you. I lost them.
Damien?
Damien? Are you there?
Are you there? You're there.
Aye, but if he can't hear us, there's trouble. I'll tell him to turn it off and turn it back on.
You didn't knock his sound off with Steve gone off, did you?
Yeah, I shouldn't have. Are you there, mate?
He's gone.
I've told him to turn it off and back on. Good crack, Steve, innit? He's playing the Bruno position. That's why the gap is in between midfield and defence and start to concede. I think Tonali's been a better player with Bruno, to be honest with you. He's stood up to the task.
Well, he gets a lot more of the ball, doesn't he? That's the difference. So you're seeing more of them. I think Newcastle, they miss Livermore the most because you know how he's good going forward. but it's his backtracking, man, and he's such a good defender at Livermento. Like but he's injured, isn't he?
How long is he injured for?
I think he's back in training, or he's
come
not
back in.
too
Let's see
far
this
out.
works. We got you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Well, lost all sound then.
I don't know what happened. I'm saying, so Steve Riff there from NUFC Matters, he's like you, but the Geordie version, he's home, away, European, he does it all, and he has done all of his life, like, even when they were crap, so to speak. But you, personally, mate, you've got to be happy with United this season, are you? Or at least of recent.
Recent. Yeah, the way obviously it's unravelled. I think we all knew Amorim was probably never going to finish the season. There was no surprise when he went. The only surprise was who they brought in to replace him.
I totally agree on that. I totally agree, but he's done well though, hasn't he, Carrick? He's just given them that like lease of life, hasn't he? Just to be like a little bit more open and express yourself on the pitch, just go and play football.
I think not being as strict as Amorim was, because Amorim, you could tell the players when they were on the field, they couldn't move from certain areas. They didn't have to be, they couldn't roam and stuff. They had to stay regimental. And if they moved, he wasn't impressed with them. You've seen that on the sideline yourself.
Yeah,
you can imagine that the training's probably been like a bit like chess, hasn't it? Rather than concentrating on like the bare basics and getting like a system in place, it's been like chess. So I can look. I'm not defending them because they're getting paid stupid amounts of money. But like I said to Gary before, Damien, if Amorim were getting the City job and he had the players in place for his system, I think he would have done absolutely fantastic. But because he come to United and he didn't have them players, he had to recruit them. You know as well as I do. You're not getting that time anymore. He just needed to change his system until he was able to bring them in. So I like him. I like what he did. I like the player that he's getting out in that, mate. But he was too stubborn. And now he's sitting in Portugal. He's lost probably the best opportunity that he'll ever get in his career. Yes, he's got 10 million in the bank, but like you're never going to get that kind of opportunity again. And like Gary just said, Carrick's come in. But for me, mate, he's doing well. But it's got a feeling of that Ollie Solskjaer about it. You know what I mean?
Do you want us to touch on that, right? I watched the overlap, right, when I was on the plane on the way back, right? And it was, who was the Liverpool manager? Gerard Houllier. And he says, he went in, it was just before he come to England as the Liverpool manager, right? And he went into a training session, it was Fergie, and he went with Jordi Cruyff. And he said again, he couldn't believe what he was hearing, and he said, literally, when United got the ball, Ferguson wanted them to score within six touches of the ball. So when they won the ball in the defence, it was 6 passes. And if you look at what Solskjaer's done, and if you look at what Carrick's doing, when we win the ball back, it's bump, 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 goal. And it emulates everything that he was saying in that video. And I was like, it's mad that because then the next game against Everton, that's exactly what we're done. And it was 6 passes, but that's exactly what Solskjaer was. It was get it wide, up the pitch, cross, touchback, pass, goal. And if you're dealing within 6, it's unbelievable football, but you cannot react to it. Whereas with Amorim, it was pass across the back, pass across the back.
Pass it sideways.
Pass it sideways. It gives time for people to get in. If you draw them in and then hit, and then when was the perfect outlet? And that's exactly what we've been doing.
I got told, and now you can't believe everything that you hear on the terraces, but I got told that under Amorim, right, was no matter where Man United retained the ball from, the ball then had to come back and touch the centre half, which then allowed United to get back into position to press. And if you think about it, when we watched the games, that happened. So we'd win the ball back. And end up going back to Harry Maguire or De Ligt. But that's
and then you have to break the full centre.
Aye.
You have to break the whole thing. It's crazy. Whereas the Fergie one, like that's what Houllier was saying. He was like, hit, and within 6 touches, I want to go.
Aye.
And it makes sense.
So, Damien, do you keep Carrick if he gets to Champions League, or?
Do you know what? This is it's like a $64,000 question. It goes. We all talk about it every game, whether it's home or whether it's away. As we keep rolling with these results, you just keep thinking, do you take a chance or do you not? I really, honest to God, I think if we finish the season with third and stuff, I think he's got to really, really be up there for a consideration for it. But
He deserves it on merit, doesn't he?
yeah, and you know the other thing you have to think about is as well when with the job, who is out there that you would replace him with? Because not going to be loads. There's not loads of managers. Tuchel's just signed another contract. I was convinced we were getting Tuchel for weeks. I was convinced we were getting Tuchel. Then he goes and signs the contract.
I thought in the year, but then would he want more control of the whole club, and then that would just set everything back again? Whereas
they want a coach, don't they? They don't want a manager. They want a coach.
So in that theory, they're going to go with Carrick, aren't they? Because they've got what they want at this moment in time.
I think so. I think so.
Does anybody see Southgate's heads popping above water again?
Oh, mate, honestly, you know what? I would never ever go back as long as that man is in charge at that club.
Listen, I totally agree with you, but his name is going to start circling again soon.
It is, but however, that will be absolute uproar. They think that they're against the Glazers. Surely United will revolt against that, and like you cannot have that, mate. England would be World Cup and European champions if it wasn't for that man.
Yeah, listen, I don't disagree with you, but you know it's going to circle again soon. That as the closer we get to May, it will start circling. I don't know who else is out there. Who would you off the top of your head?
I was out for Emery, from Villa.
Yeah, but that's a manager they've got to go and purchase.
Yeah,
you've got to go on compensation for him.
It's a good comment by J. Cole, another United fan. The Steve Holland appointment has been unbelievable. Who's helping Carrick?
Yeah. There seems to be quite a lot of rumours coming out of Carrington about him, though, don't you say? A lot of people seem to like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Malcolm Rama is saying, would we take Eddie Howe?
Eddie Howe, come on. No. Surely that's got to be a backward step.
Of course it is.
They're on about building a statue of him. He's only won the Carabao Cup.
Damien, have you been listening to my phone?
No, I haven't, but it has to be. It was on the TV earlier, or reading it or somewhere. But surely to God, that's got to be a backward step. Listen, at one stage you would have snapped him up, wouldn't you? At one stage his name was there or thereabouts.
I think he's a good England manager.
Yeah, but he hasn't pushed Newcastle on any further.
Right? I was sitting in the sauna yesterday. This big City fan, Kevin Young, says he's been absolutely shit.
Newcastle fan.
Aye, well, that's what I said.
Not City. No, you said big City
fan. He's been absolutely shit for 14, yeah. And I said, are you taking the piss? I says, you've just said that we've been absolutely shit for 14, yeah. We've won the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and the Europa League. You won a Carabao Cup last year, and you wanted to put a fucking statue up of Eddie Howe outside your stadium.
Yeah.
Honestly, mate, they're mental.
Well, I totally agree with that.
Can we have a special episode of the channel this Thursday when we turn you over? Anyone who stepped down to your level, he says, give our Adobe. Stick the dart here. Jesus. Honestly, Damien, listen. So what you going for before we let you go, mate?
No, I am going for. I do think it'll be 2-1.
2-1 United. Who scores?
2-1 United. Yeah, 2-1 United.
Sesko.
Sesko, yeah, and Bumo.
Good.
I'm quite confident that we will turn up and win tomorrow.
Brilliant.
Get in.
Listen, I really appreciate you coming on because I know it's not your thing, but I just needed to get you on. You're United through and through. We're head rave for you on. We've got you on. Thank you very much, mate. Honestly.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Are you there tomorrow, mate?
I'm leaving Manchester about 2:15, 2:30. I'm leaving Manchester, so I'll be there quite early.
But give us a bell, mate, and we'll meet up for a pint.
Yeah, I'll meet up with you, yeah?
Champion.
Cheers, Damon.
Take care, gents. Thanks, lads.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ta-da, mate.
Excellent crack. Brilliant. United through and through, mate. Like, literally goes home, away, European, the whole shebang. So I'm really pleased to get him on. A lot of people didn't believe in this YouTube stuff, like they think they're all like fan cameras and that. We're not like that, We're just here for the crack. We're not making any money off it, really, to be honest. But Gary, how do you see tomorrow night gone?
I don't want to get carried away, like, but I think I'm thinking 3-0.
3-0?
3-0 I'm going for, aye.
Well, that's a saying, where's your beaker?
What? Tracy?
Taking the beer? Eh?
Who, Tracy?
You little bugger. Well, at least there's one fan of you that goes to European Day. Oh, he's been listening to his Uncle Peter, hasn't he? I was in Bilbao, man. I was in the final. And a little contact next season in the Champions League, where we'll be and he'll not be. I've been told that we've got potential of getting tickets. Brad McCullen's on there, Man United 2, Newcastle 0, Big H and Bruno Penn. You'll be 3-0. To be honest, Gary, I think you will at least score one. You've said 3-0. Listen to this. Look at this. Watch this. I'm going to show you something.
He must meet the Man U.
Look. Match 1. Look at this on the back.
Get in.
To Melly, best wishes. Harry Maguire.
Get in.
Get in, Harry, lads. It even smells like them out. It's even got his smell. He says, you want to wash that? I says, that is not getting washed, mate. Trust us. Have it all the night in the shower.
That means it's getting wet.
Mint.
Hey.
Yeah, he's saying, well, if you need me to ask Littler to get some tickets for you, just let me know. What did you make of Maguire making on? He got kicked in the head. He did, mate. It didn't look like it, but he actually had that's why he come off. He came off because of that. He doesn't got doing for now, Harry, does he? That's one, he's one player that will play injured. What did you say, Gary? 3-0?
3-0.
Do you? You didn't think
So
Newcastle would score?
No, why would I?
I don't know. I just think they're at home. If the crowd gets up, I'm going for 2-1. I think we'll win 2-1.
No, I think 3-0. I don't see where the score from.
Do you start Sesko tomorrow? And your instincts saying yes, right? Because obviously he's got a goal scoring form. But is it the type of game where you play him, or do you think Man United is just going to sit behind the ball and counter attack? They're not going to be getting many. I don't think.
No, you see that as if personnel, but Sesko's probably our fastest player. Just because he's big, people think he's tall. Have you seen how quick that bloke is?
Oh, he's quick. He's good. He's excellent.
So it doesn't matter whether you want to play the high ball or if you want to play in behind. He can do both.
Imagine
if you put Sesko on Dan Burn.
Oh, you see, make sure our phone's on at 10 o'clock. We'll be looking for these at 10 o'clock, won't we?
I'll be inside the Gallon's box. I'll be inside the back of his box.
Damien saying, don't the Toon players have missing like Bruno? I heard there's a something the matter. Sickness in the camp. I don't think it matters. I think Man United's on a run of form. In Newcastle's they've got to have their eye on City on the weekend, and then Barcelona. That's got to be where your priority is. You look at the league, they're probably safe. If we're being realistic, they're probably safe now, aren't they? On 36.
Aye, they are.
So it's not really the priority. Their only chance of Europe next season is winning the FA Cup or the Champions League. What is more probable? It's got to be one of them. Do you know what I mean? But at this minute, it's 50-50, isn't it? They're thinking if we beat Barcelona, we've got a chance of winning this. And they're thinking if we beat City, we've got a chance of winning this. I don't know. I don't know what kind of Newcastle's going to turn up.
They're going to have to beat the best teams in England to win either.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. And I just, at this time and minute, I just didn't think they're capable of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially without Bruno Gomes. I just cannot say it. The only about Valdemar, to be honest, I hope he is playing because I think he takes a man under the pitch. You'd want him to be playing. Like as a
Just
Man
run you through
United
the
fan,
scores. Just run you through the scores from the night. Currently, it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. Everton are beating Burnley 1-0. Leeds and Sunderland are drawing 0s each. 60 minutes gone. Wolves in Liverpool, 35 minutes gone. Still 0s each. We'll go into tomorrow. And I just want to have a quick look. Newcastle v Man United. Obviously, it's on telly because you're playing Man United. I know you're not used to being on telly, but yes. So you've got Bruno missing, Kraft missing, Miley and Shaw. We've got De Ligt, Dogu, and Mount out. Questionables, Livramento and Walter Mead. For us, Martinez, Shaw, and Al-Jufri. Never heard of him. Peter Banks, referee, mate. What do you make of him? Crack of the whip or what?
Aye, I would say so.
Do you?
Yeah, aye, that's fine.
Peter
As long
Banks
as Oliver's, as long as Oliver's not on
on the bar.
nah, you can't.
Aye.
What do you think of Villa Chelsea tomorrow? Who you going? What do you think of that?
I think it'll be a draw. Aye, Villa's at home. I'm gonna go for a draw. Brighton Arsenal. How do you see that, Gan?
I think a draw as well. I've just said before there. I think Brighton's not an easy game, like away for anyone really, and I can see them getting some of that. They'll wanna hold Arsenal up, and I think
I'm gonna go on Brighton win 2-1. Fulham West Ham.
Can't say I'll put a Fulham win, to be honest.
Same.
2-1.
Man City at Forest. At home to Forest.
Blow them away. 3 or 4 now, I think.
Tottenham Crystal Palace Thursday.
Palace were right, in the first half. Spurs is.
Must win
I
for
think
Spurs, that, Gary.
it is, but I just think Palace is a better team at the time and present. I just think Palace will beat them. I think I'm going to go 2-1 again.
I'm going to go 1-1. FA Cup, just quickly, while we're on. Newcastle, Man City, who wins that?
8 o'clock kickoff in the Toon. Be up for that, like. They've got to be. After they get beat off Man U the morning, they'll have to be up for that.
Arsenal.
I'm going to go
3.
I'm going to go 2-1 to the Toon.
Wrexham against Chelsea.
Ooh, could be a banana skin, that. 1-1, Wrexham win on pens.
Oh, I hope you're right. So I'm going to go on Wrexham, and I'm going to go on Toon. I think the Toon's going to beat City. I just don't think City's on all. And I think 8 o'clock under the lights in James's Park, crowd up for it. War flags will have an absolute fantastic display going on, no doubt. The crowd will be up for it. Be too much for City, and they'll beat City.
But you've got to think, City will fancy winning the Champions League, and they've got Real Madrid midweek.
Yeah. Oh, the eyes
Which
will
is
be on there. 100%.
Like they're not really that bothered about a domestic trophy. They've won the Real before. And that's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
Man City literally are thinking
City play on the Wednesday, Newcastle play on the Tuesday. They've got Barcelona. Do you think they'll do out with Barcelona?
They can, I've said to Smithy, I think that game's perfect for Newcastle's older system. You need Livramento and Hall playing though. You've got to have them fullbacks that can get up and do it, and that's why it gives Newcastle to get in behind. But without Livramento and Hall, they'll struggle. Definitely.
Gary, it's an hour and a half, mate. That's what we're done.
Champion.
I'll pick you up 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
You're
Everybody. See you later.
Cheers, Terry.
Yeah.